Email marketing is dead. Email marketing doesn't work. All I need is social media or Google Ads. These are some of the things I have been hearing from prospective clients. And I had to say, I don't think so. I know so. I know they need email marketing. And that's why I asked my good friend, Amy Miller. Amy Miller is the Director of Product Strategy and Client Success at Informa. And she's going to give us some definitions or justification on why people need to have email marketing in their marketing strategy. But before we get started, my name is Donna Peterson, and you're listening to the B2B Marketing Excellence Podcast. I go all over the world to talk with industry leaders, marketing directors about their specific industries, what's working, what's not, so that you can reach success faster. So let's jump in. Good afternoon, Amy. How are you today?
I'm well, Donna. How are you?
Oh, great. And I just love having you on the show. I thought you were the perfect person to help us with this dilemma of email marketing is dead.
What's funny, as you asked me to come on, I went through some of my old PowerPoints. I literally had one with a slide on it that had a tombstone that had email marketing, because that's what I hear, right? That's what I hear from our clients, from our sales reps, our account managers. Amy, email marketing is dead. Nobody wants to do it anymore. But yet, when you ask the marketing directors at those companies, when you look at the marketing journals, when you read the blogs about what's actually working, not what people want to use, not what they think is working, not what everyone wants to work even, right? Like, it's not that I want email marketing to work. I'm not making it up because that's what I like to do every day. It's what is working. 79% say that email marketing is still at the top of what they consider the media that works the best for their B2B marketing efforts.
And I totally agree with that, because at the beginning, when I said the client who said, we don't need email marketing, we're going to do all social media, it's because they look at the numbers they're getting on social media. And I'll say, okay, can you tell me what company they're from or who the individual is? But some of the vendors that I work with, after a campaign's over, I can at least know what company they came from. I won't get all their details, but I would know that XYZ did click on the email, giving it validity that it is working and that we are reaching the right audience.
Right.
You can't get that from social media or Google Ads or anything like that.
No, and I think the other thing is you also lose what they're actually looking at, right? Because they're not there to look at your ad. When I open an email ad, I'm opening an email in my inbox.
Because it's direct to you.
Correct. And I purposely decided to click open. I didn't click open by accident. It takes something purposeful. It takes the respondent or the contact on the other end, whether it's your mobile, your laptop, your desktop, whatever it is, right? It took a click of the mouse, a click of your button, whereas the other items are not necessarily as purposeful. Yes, you had to click if you wanted to click through on an ad, click through on Google, click through on social media, etc. But you didn't have to take that first step necessarily.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So what would you say are the key advantages of doing email marketing versus other marketing initiatives?
What I'm now really into, my key measure of success is the click to open rate. It used to be our opens, but yes, they can be skewed. Did they actually open it, or was it just open in the preview pane? So sometimes you can't tell. If they did click, where did they click? What did they click on, etc. But I personally think the click to open is really where you're going to get your meat. If you just look at your clicks to delivered, it can be skewed. But if you're getting an active and a very high click to open rate, I think you've done a couple of different things, right?
Yeah.
You've picked the right list.
Yes.
You've engaged them with a subject line that's engaging to that audience to get them to open it.
So those would be the key advantages of email marketing, which again, I agree with those. One of the things I'll always say to clients, because I think there is such a gray area sometimes, your open number, your click number, you as a user need to have confidence that your message is getting in front of the right people.
You can always find a list that someone claims is going to have the right demographics, the right selects. My team is actually involved in helping others, like your clients, like other people's clients, in using the same list that our marketers use in house. They're engaged, they're industry specific, they're niche.
Yeah.
It's not about spray and pray.
Companies, if they say
Correct.
email marketing doesn't work, that's when, okay, wait a minute, how are you doing it? What
Correct.
list, what type of messaging are you putting out there? And if it's too broad in general, it's
Right.
not going to work.
If you've got $1 million and you want to go out and buy the largest compiled list that you can find,
Yeah.
and you've got a lot of time and a lot of money, then you can market that way, right? Then you can go out and just email and email. Your conversion rate's not going to be good, but you're going to get some.
You're going to also be thrown into that spam folder because
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And then if the people haven't opted in, you could get blacklisted. And if you blacklist your domain, you and I both know it takes time to get your domain unblacklisted.
Absolutely. Not only you don't want to take the time, you don't want that reputation.
No.
Because then there are services out there that anyone can Google.
Yeah.
And check your domain and see if you're reputable.
Yeah.
And see where you fall on those. And it's a waste of time, money, energy, and you end up on the tombstone, right? You end up on the email is dead.
Also, the brands you and I deal with, they're very reputable brands. And I think you brought out a very good point. None of them want to be using marketing channels that might tarnish their reputation.
No, no.
It takes too long to build up your reputation. Us as a 43-year-old company.
Yeah. None of us are out there to tarnish not only our reputation as the owner of the list, but you and I both know that we're all in it for the long haul, or the reputable ones are in it for the long haul. You and I, right before you started this broadcast, we're talking about relationship building.
Yes.
And that's what I think we're still about is putting relationships together. And that's what building good email marketing lists is about.
Yes.
Is building that brand, building your brand, getting a list that's reputable and putting it out there for the long haul. It's not about just a one-off. Let me get this out here, see how many I can get and move on.
It's more of a marathon than a sprint. Some people think it's a sprint and they're like, but my boss is on me to get it out there. And I'm saying, yeah, but if you go and just do one mass email, it's not going to work for you. You'll be wasting your money. And that's when people will say email is dead.
Correct.
But you do need to slow down and do the research and work on those relationships. Look at you and I. You and I have known each other for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And what that's done is, one, it's enjoyable to work with you, but also you and I, we understand each other and you help me with my clients to find the exact areas that they should be targeting so that they see better results.
And I think if it's not a fit, you also need to recognize that. And I'm the first one who, Donna, you've come to me with clients or with a promotion. And I've said, no, I can't help on this one.
Yeah.
And I think you also need to recognize when a list isn't there, or when selects aren't available, or when the demo just isn't going to work. You don't have the demographics that are going to fit a particular profile. And I think clients need to be picky.
Yeah.
I think to make email marketing work, you need to be selective about the list that you use down to the selects.
Yes.
They have to be available on that particular list that you want to use. You build the correct list, you marry it with the correct content. And then, like you and I have talked about, you create a nurture campaign, you create the right subject lines, you go out into the market as a marathon, and you're going to be successful. You
those vendors
throw it together, it's not going to work.
That's it. You just don't want to just Oh, there's this list. Okay, let's just email to it. No, let's look deeper into what type of offers do they resonate with? What type of messaging do they resonate with? How you do a messaging for a CEO is totally different than a CFO or an engineer. That
Yep.
should be written different with different content. And that's where people have to realize if you do that research up front, they'll get those better results. And like you were just talking about, when we're talking about measuring the outcome, you like to do the clicks to the opens.
Yep.
And I was also saying, when you go and you do the research behind the list sources you're using, so you're not using just a compiled list or a B2B data
Absolutely.
platform, you're going into a publisher who's using all their resources to talk directly to that audience. And like you said, you will say no to someone before you'll take them on because you don't want to see them get bad results.
We don't want to fail. Nobody wants to fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you don't want to exhaust your subscribers with promotions they won't be interested in because they'll get
Absolutely.
mad.
Absolutely. Which is the other thing that not only does that fit from a good business perspective, right? That we want to make sure that there are things that are important to our subscribers and our delegates and the people on our list.
Yes.
But you also want to do that from a compliance standpoint. You and I both know in the 20, 30 years that we've been doing this together,
Yeah.
compliance has gotten stricter and stricter. And some of that, okay, I'm going to say it out loud, it's a little annoying.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, but I think it's very manageable if you really think about why the rules are there.
Yeah.
And you're not, you remember when there were a couple years back, it used to be everybody wanted to send a lottery. There were a lot of those different
Oh,
lottery
that's right.
emails, and
Yes. Yeah.
people wanted to send lotteries and nobody wants to get them. So you really
No.
want to also send things that are very specific to the dedicated industry audience that you have. You want to really make sure that whatever is being sent from your list
Yeah.
is purposeful,
It has
right?
value.
Is important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It has to offer value to those people.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they could opt out of getting other
Absolutely.
promotions, but they could also turn around and say, forget it. If Informa's going to do this, I don't even want their magazine, or I don't even want to go to their conferences anymore.
Absolutely.
And so it's such a valuable asset for you. I would imagine you do everything possible to protect it with only quality, valuable initiatives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we adhere to our privacy policy. We publish our privacy policy not only on the emails, but on all our websites, and we adhere to it. It's important.
Yes.
Not only is it important because it's legal, but it's
Right.
also important because I think, to uphold the integrity of email marketing
Yeah.
keeps all of us above those that are actually spamming.
Yes.
Because
We're
think it's
we're
important.
protecting our industry, really. And that is one of the reasons why I even started this podcast, because I was so sick of all the garbage that was out there and the loud voices that they had about, take this big compiled list, I can give you 100,000. And I'm like, no. That's why I wanted to have Informa or other publishers or other conference companies on here to talk about the value that you offer. And then the clients could have confidence in the sources that they're using.
Right. It's important to uphold the integrity both for their brand as well as for ours.
Yeah.
You can tell immediately when you talk to people at Informa that it's important to us that anyone utilizing our list, not only we set the expectation that they're happy with the performance just as much as we are.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that warm, fuzzy feeling
Yeah.
when you talk to either you from an agency perspective or from the list owner
Yeah.
or from the industry publication, or then don't work with them.
That's right.
That's the best advice I think I can give you is those, if somebody says, oh, don't worry about that compliance part, where no, worry about it, worry about it. It's, we've got that covered, or
Oh, I can put those 500 people into my CRM. I'm like,
right.
I always tell clients, I said, if they're willing to send out their list, that's a red flag.
Absolutely.
Because all your companies, whether you're a publisher or a conference company, your list is the most valuable asset you have.
Yep. Second to your people.
Yep. And I value the vendors who say to me, no, I can't help you. Or no, this is not right. Yeah, it might be annoying because I really need to finish this recommendation, but if they
Right.
say that, I know that they're truly looking into maybe the equipment that's up for offer or whatever the webinar might be about. They're not just dollars. We're not just looking at dollars. We're seriously looking at, is this right for our audience? Yes, it will be effective for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And having said all of this, there are also great digital opportunities to combine with your email
Yes.
marketing. Email is able to give you that full message. Do you know what I mean? Like it
It's that
really is
direct
able.
message to you with
Correct.
all the details.
100%.
And
100%.
I agree with you. I started with email is dead because you always hear it. Postal is dead, email is
Oh,
dead.
100%.
And I think a good marketer knows that nothing is dead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's exactly what you said, knowing your audience, knowing where they are, knowing the types of messaging, but then giving them the messaging wherever they are. I just hung up with a call with a client and they're like, oh, we're on Facebook and X and Instagram and LinkedIn and I'm like, do you really see the responses from all of those? Because I do think people get caught up with saying, I've got to be on everything, but is your audience there? Concentrate on where your audience is, and that's where you're going to get the best return
Correct.
and gain
Correct.
those clients. And then if you're on those different channels, that's also where you're going to be able to build that relationship. So then if you were looking back now and we're talking about email marketing, and I think you've already hit on this, what do you think are, or could you share some best practices when it comes to email marketing?
There's certainly some easy ones.
Yes.
Some of the easy ones are short and sweet, always wins the prize. Nobody wants an email that's so long that you can't get through it. And that includes the subject line.
Yeah.
You and I have both seen subject lines that you're like, this isn't even going to fit on anybody's page, especially when the important part's at the end. I think nowadays, you remember when we first started doing this, and yes, unfortunately, you and I were both around when we first started doing it.
Yes.
There were a lot of words that you didn't use, like
Yeah.
free or whatever. I don't think we really need to worry about those words anymore, but
Mhm.
I think you do need to worry about what words you put first.
Yes.
I think you always try to put the words that are most important at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that's where people are going to catch them. I think links should always be near the top. One of my personal pet peeves is when I have to hunt for a link.
Yeah.
Is when I'm interested in something and I truly can't figure out where to click.
And why scroll all the way to the bottom too?
Correct.
Have it up at the top, like you said. I've heard someone say, have it up there right in the right-hand corner, then have it centered above the fold.
100% above the fold. 100%.
And if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, when you say above the fold, think of the old newspapers, or not the old newspapers, but a newspaper. It's like above the fold, the first thing that you see, that's where there should be another call to action.
Absolutely. Personalization, I think, always wins.
If done properly.
Correct. Don't put pictures in your subject line just because you can.
Oh,
right.
I think that has increased now, especially with ChatGPT. ChatGPT loves all the emojis and all the generative AI tools. And you're seeing these industrial brands use emojis left and right.
Everywhere.
And I'm like, and it's not on brand.
Right.
Like you're putting the muscles because it's a strong subject line or strong content's not really going to.
And I think use new things smartly, right? Yeah. Because there are so many new things out there, right? Yeah. There's AI, there's emojis, there's personalization, that does not mean you have to use them all.
Yep.
At the same time on the same email.
Yep.
AI is fabulous. It's probably the most revolutionary thing we've all seen in a long time. It doesn't mean it has to be used on every email all the time.
No.
And all throughout the whole thing.
I tell that to clients all the time, use it as a baseline. And it all goes back to, as brands, you've got to make sure your uniqueness is coming out. You have to be authentic. And that goes back to what you were just saying about personalization and emojis. And if it doesn't fit with your brand, so we're a 43-year-old B2B brand working in the industrial space. having tons of emojis is not part of our brand.
No. No.
Even though they are fun, it's not
Right.
part of our brand.
Right.
Like the CEOs that we talk to do not want to get, or
Right.
the best, I tell people to use it as a baseline because I once showed them how to use generative AI and it came up with content that said, "Dear marketing maven," or "Hey dude." Okay,
Right.
both those things would never come out of my mouth. So
Right.
you've got to watch it and make sure it's unique for you and your
Correct.
company.
Correct. But do use new things.
Yeah, the companies that say they're not going to use AI, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot because it's not
Absolutely.
going away. And now
Absolutely.
is the time to research it to see if those AI tools fuel their objectives.
Correct.
Amy, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I always love talking with you.
Yes, you too.
You have a wealth of information when it comes to this. And like you said, with Informa, with the quality of sources you have, you use them themselves. That's why people should have confidence when they use them also. So I thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's always great talking to you, Donna.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the World Innovators B2B Marketing Excellence Podcast. If you'd like to be updated when new episodes come out, don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out our social media accounts to stay up to date on B2B marketing trends.